such a pleasure to be here. I want to start by asking how many people in this room have ever done any yoga before? Oh, that's awesome. How many, so raise your hand if you haven't done it. And how many people thought they were going to come here and just get a lecture on yoga? For those of you who have never done yoga, after this session, you're going to be able to say you did some yoga. And you're going to be able to see that there's so much more to yoga than maybe some of the pictures that you've seen. And you hopefully understand how it can impact you, whether you're a caregiver or going through some sort of a transplant or a cancer yourself. So I'm just going to start with going over what we're going to do today. We're going to talk a little bit about what's the difference between yoga versus yoga therapy. Now, I am a yoga teacher, but I'm also a yoga therapist, and understand a little bit about the difference between that. Go over why yoga is a whole person approach and why a very gentle form of yoga can be very helpful going through any type of healing. What are the main components of yoga? What is meditation? And then we are going to do a gentle practice. What you received when you came in were some handouts, and those were more handouts that are about the practices that we're going to do today. And there's supposed to be a handout if they're tracking it down of the actual slides that you're going to see. But I don't want to spend too much time on the slides, but I did want to give you a little bit of an introduction so you'd understand why we're doing it. But what you're not going to get out of me today is a bunch of research. Research is being done to show that yoga is effective, but what I wanted you to do was to feel it today, okay? And then if you felt a difference, then you can go back and you can track down some of the research. So what is yoga versus yoga therapy? There's lots of different types of yoga, so be careful if you say, I want to go to a yoga class. It's great, but you got to find the right type of yoga class. So if you have any locations near you, sometimes it's community centers or senior centers or yoga studios or YMCA, those types of things, but just read the type of classes that they have. And if you're taking it for health issues, I suggest starting, and if you've never done yoga before, start with something called basic yoga or gentle yoga or restorative yoga, things like that. So usually you'll find a yoga in a group setting for anybody who shows up to the class, right? So the teacher can't focus in on you and your health issues because you'll still get a lot of benefit out of the class, but there's a bunch of people in the class and they have to teach to the whole class. Yoga therapy is when you go to a yoga therapist who is a yoga teacher first and then goes on to get much more training. And we study different types of health issues. We get into more advanced yoga, not from the physical standpoint necessarily. And then we know how to apply that. So if you go to a yoga therapist, they're going to take an intake form. So it's more of a one-on-one session. They're going to intake all of your health, both mental and physical health, just answer some questions. They're going to sit down and talk to you about what your goals are based on your health issues, and we're going to customize a plan for you. And the goal is always, like, for example, my goal, it usually takes more than one session, anywhere from 3 to 6 sessions, but the goal is to create a custom plan for you, go over those techniques, send you home to do some, come back, let's review those techniques, let's learn some new techniques. But the goal is that you can learn to do yoga techniques on your own, at home. They're going to help for your specific health issue. So that's the difference between yoga and yoga therapy. So what do we mean by this whole person effect? We all know that exercise is good for us, but so yoga does include exercise or movement, but it includes so much more. And why yoga is focused on the whole person is this is kind of a yoga philosophy that we as human beings or individuals are made up of, one, the physical. We always think of the physical, right? Because we can feel it, we can see it, we can touch it. Things like the exercise and food affect our physical body. But we're so much more than our physical body. We are filled with vital energy. If you didn't have any energy, you wouldn't be able to move. I'm sure there's all times where you felt fatigued. That's because your energy level is low. We are filled with this vital energy. I like to use the analogy of Chinese medicine because you've probably heard those terms, and then I'll turn it into yoga. Your meridians. So meridians are channels of energy that flow throughout the body. And if you've ever heard of acupuncture or acupressure, they take little tiny needles and they put them in very specific places along your energy channel lines with the intention of unblocking any blocked energy or releasing stagnation and getting that energy to flow in the direction that it's supposed to flow, and then you start to feel more energetic and you start to feel better. They also do that in acupressure with very certain points along these energy lines. Same thing in yoga. We just call those energy channels nadis instead of meridians. And then if you've heard the term chakra, along this, in the area of the spine, it's not on the spine, we have these vortexes of energy where the energy channels crisscross and meet. And we want to keep the energy flowing throughout the body. So at times when the energy gets stagnated, you're feeling low or fatigued, you want to get that energy flowing. If it's blocked, it might be headed in the wrong direction. We want to get that energy flowing in the right direction. How do we do that in yoga? We do it through movement, through breathing practices, through relaxation and meditation. But the effects are the same or similar as doing it. There's not just one way to get your energy flowing better. Another part that we focus on or we recognize in yoga is two levels of the mind. The ordinary mind, that's like your feelings, your emotions, your five senses, your instincts. And then we also have something what we call the superior mind, and that's more your intellect, your intuition, your imagination, your discernment. So sometimes you hear those called the lower mind and the higher mind. And then there's this place inside all of us. Sometimes we feel that happiness, we feel that joy, but other times it feels like that doesn't exist within us. But we all know we were born with that sense of innocence, and we like to call it that inner joy. In yoga, it's often called the true self. It's consider yourself a spiritual being in a human body. And so that's where that is. That's some call it the soul, whatever you want to call it. It's your true self. And so we like, we try to tap into that, regardless of what you have going on in your life. So it's all of those parts that make up the whole person, not just your physical being. So to sum up what I just said, that yoga is a method for long-term transformation by focusing on the whole person, not just one aspect. The physical, the mental, the emotional, energetic, and the spiritual. That's what we're trying to get at when we do yoga, a good yoga session. So the main components of yoga include movement, breathing, relaxation, and meditation. All of those done with a sense of mindfulness. In other words, paying attention on purpose or being present. That's what we mean by mindfulness. So to get at that, all of those parts of the whole person, the physical body, we do movements. You might call those like the yoga poses, or they could just be actions and movements as well. To get at the vital energy, we do breathing practices. To tap into the ordinary mind, we do concentration and relaxation. And then to get at that superior mind, meditation. Sometimes people come to me and they say, I want to learn to meditate. I'm like, okay, but how are you feeling in some of these other layers, right? So I think it's harder to start with meditation. That first we need to quiet down the mind. We need to, if you're sitting in a chair and something's hurting physically and bothering you, are you going to be able to meditate? Your mind is more likely to go at what's bothering you. Or your mind can be all over the place, dwelling on the past, worrying about the future. How can you sit and meditate when your mind's all over the place? Through the breathing practices, we start to quiet down the mind. And then we do some relaxation and concentration to get at the meditation. So it's the combination. So you can do any one of these practices listed here on their own, but the effectiveness is better if you do them all together. And we're going to do a little bit of everything today. So what is meditation? Meditation is focusing on a single thing. Actually, what meditation is a spontaneous form of mind. I'm not teaching you to meditate. I'm teaching you to relax and concentrate. And if you're lucky, you're going to get to that state of meditation we call samadhi or bliss, that tapping into the inner joy. Only you can do that. So we're teaching you skills so that you can get to that spontaneous form of mind. So so meditation, a skill to get you to meditate, is to focus on a single thing. That could be an object, it could be a picture, it could be a word. And one of the most common forms of meditation are to focus on the breathing, because it's with us all the time. And so no matter where you are, if you need to quiet down and you need to relax, you can just close your eyes and focus on your breathing. So we're going to use that as our meditation practice today, or to lead to meditation, is to focus on the breathing. And so what I want to get at here is that all ages can meditate. I love to see children getting into it. So it doesn't matter how old or how young you are or what you have going on in your life. Everybody can do yoga, and and meditation is part of that. It's not separate. You'll see, and they even put it on my presentation, yoga and meditation. I'd rather it be yoga including meditation, because it's not separate. It's part of what we teach. So given along those lines that everyone can do yoga, we're going to try a practice together. So what I'd like you to do, and normally I just don't have it today, but nice quiet music goes nicely with a yoga practice as well. But I would like you to participate to get to that, to see if you can feel a difference. If you can spread your chairs just a little bit so that you can get some movement with your arms. It's not going to be anything challenging that you can't do. So just make sure you'll be able to spread your arms. I'll try to keep us within a fairly quiet spot. And I wish I could, when we get to the relaxation part, I forgot to ask about turning the lights down back there, but I'm sure there are ways. Just so you don't have the bright lights in you. So once you're settled, I would like you to close your eyes or have them downcast if you're not comfortable with closing them all the way. And just let your attention go inward and notice how you're feeling. Notice how you're feeling physically. Is there anything bothering you in the shoulder, or the hip, or the neck? Anywhere. Notice how you're feeling energetically. Are you feeling pretty good? Are you feeling a little bit of fatigue? Notice where your mind's at. Are you able to focus and listen to what I'm saying, or has your mind in this first few minutes been all over the place? And when you are thinking about other things, does it tend to be in the past? Does it tend to be in the future? Or are you able to stay in the present? And I want you to just use this as a baseline, this idea of how you're feeling right now, where your body and your mind and your emotions are at right now. And at the end of our session, I want you to notice how you feel and see if there's a difference. Now, keeping your eyes closed or downcast just for a few more moments, I want you to tap into your breathing. Notice your breathing. and doing a little bit of an exercise. I'd like you to place one hand on your belly and one hand on your chest. With your attention inward, notice your breathing as you breathe in through your nostrils and it goes down through your windpipe and into the lungs. Are you feeling the hand on your chest moving? Are you feeling the hand on your belly moving? Is it just one or the other? Or maybe both? We're going to use this as our baseline breathing. And when you're ready, I'd like you to slowly open your eyes and smile. We're going to come back to the breathing. I don't know if you remembered what the name of my company is when I'm not working at the UF Health Cancer Center or for the International Association of Yoga Therapists. I have my own yoga therapy business, and it's called Breatlink Yoga Therapy, because in my mind, breathing is the most important function. If somebody came to me and said they only have 5 minutes to make me feel better in 5 minutes, help me feel better in 5 minutes, what can I do in 5 minutes? I would just focus on some breathing. So we're going to come back to the breathing, but I want to ask you a question based on that little assessment. How many people were feeling the hand on the chest moving? Primarily, I'll say it that way. How many people were feeling the hand on the belly moving primarily? And how many people were feeling both? Okay. There's no right or wrong, but there is a better way to breathe, okay? So regardless of how you are breathing, I just want to give you some information, and then you can take and do with that information what you want. If you were primarily breathing in the chest, that's shallow breathing. And if you have shallow breathing, do you notice once in a while that you feel anxious or tense or stressed out? Because we're not getting enough oxygen all the time. And you're not the only one. As a society, we're pretty stressed out. If you were feeling the hand on the belly primarily, then you're breathing deeply, which is good, and we'll go over a little bit more about that. If you were feeling it in both, that's okay too, but let's just work on getting it a little longer, slower, and deeper. Because what happens when we breathe shallowly, our lungs are in the shape of triangles. Was that me? Might have been me knocking there. Okay. And so we have this big muscle that's located between the chest cavity and the abdominal cavity, and that muscle is called the diaphragm muscle. And we want that diaphragm muscle to be flexible because it plays a huge role in our breathing. When the diaphragm muscle is tight, it only moves just a tiny bit, and it's not able to draw. So the role of the diaphragm muscle is to draw the air deep down into the lower part of the lungs, which is the larger part of the lungs, okay? When the diaphragm muscle is tight, it's not doing its job as effectively, and the air is just hanging out in the top part of the lungs. That's 25% of your lungs. That's only 25% of your breathing capacity. So by doing the deep breathing techniques, we're trying to guide more air, more oxygen into the lower part of the lungs, the larger part of the lungs. That oxygen then goes on to it converted into your bloodstream through the lungs and goes on to help heal and fuel and nourish every single cell of your body. So just by learning to breathe longer, slower, deeper, you can get more oxygen into your system, and it affects your autonomic nervous system. And I don't have time to get into a lot of that, but if we can affect the autonomic nervous system through the breathing techniques, that's what helps to bring on board the relaxation part of your nervous system. Rather than being stuck in the stress response all the time, it'll help us tap into the relaxation response. And what we want is not always to be in the relaxation response, because you wouldn't be able to function. We want balance between the stress response and the relaxation response. And if you're feeling at times really stressed out, it's because you're stuck in that stress response, or what we call the sympathetic nervous system. So all we want to do is say, hey, come on, the relaxation response needs some time too, and get that back into balance. Okay, so let's start our practice itself now that you have an idea of how you're breathing. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to do some movements, and I hope you'll practice along with me. So we're going to start with rubbing our hands together. Okay, this is helpful if you're feeling cold or chilly at all, but it also, by rubbing the hands together, gets our energy flowing. It's one of many methods. So rub long enough to feel the warmth. And then once you can feel the warm sensation, take your palms, bring them to the backs and sides of your neck. Ooh, I gotta be careful. And begin to gently press and release, and press and release. It's like giving a little massage to the area of your neck. We tend to hold a lot of stress and tension in the area of our neck, and this just begins to release some of that stress and that tension. And then go down to your neck and shoulders. I have to be careful on this side because of my microphone. But the idea is to be doing this massage to both the neck and the shoulders. With your attention, your awareness there, notice how the neck and shoulders feel. And then when you're ready, go ahead and shake that out. And relax your hands, just to your thighs. Focus on your shoulders once again. And we're going to inhale and lift your shoulders up towards your ears. And then exhale with a big sigh. Inhale, the shoulders lift. Exhale. Let's do this twice more. Inhale, lift. Exhale. And then just one more time. Inhale, lift. And exhale. Now let's do a little bit more with the neck area, because we hold a lot of tension in our neck. So sitting up nice and tall, starting with your head facing forward, we're going to take an inhale breath. And then as you exhale, slowly turn your head and look over your right shoulder. Now I'm mirroring you, so your right is that way, so I'm going to go to my right. Your right. Inhaling back to the center. And then exhale and slowly turn your head and look over your left shoulder. Inhaling back to the center. Exhaling, slowly turn your head and look over your right shoulder. Inhaling back to the center. And exhaling, slowly turn your head and look over your left shoulder. Inhaling back to the center. Now, focusing on your right ear, as you exhale, guide your right ear towards your right shoulder. Inhaling, guide the head back to the center. And as you're exhaling, draw your left ear towards your left shoulder. Inhaling back to the center. Exhaling, right ear towards the right shoulder. Inhaling back to the center. And exhaling, left ear towards the left shoulder. Inhaling back to the center. Now as you exhale, draw your chin towards your chest and look towards your heart. Inhaling, looking up on your inhale breath. Exhaling, chin towards your chest and look towards your heart. Inhaling, looking up on your inhale breath. Exhaling, chin towards your chest and look towards your heart. This time will be a little bit different. As we inhale and begin to look up, also bring your arms in front of you. We can't reach too wide, so let's just bring our shoulders and our arms wide like this instead of way wide like this. We're opening up the front side of the body. And then as you exhale, begin to round forward, cross your right arm over your left. Give yourself a great big hug. Inhaling, arms reach wide, look up, squeeze your shoulder blades behind you. Exhaling, round forward, cross your left arm over your right, give yourself a great big hug. Let's do this twice more. Inhaling, arms reach wide, look up, squeeze your shoulder blades behind you. Exhaling, round forward, cross your right arm over your left, give yourself a great big hug. One more time, inhaling, arms reach wide. Exhaling, round forward, cross the right arm over the left. And then come back to what we call a neutral position. Relax your arms and give all that a good shake. So a neutral position is when our head is in alignment with our spine. So what we're going to do from here is we want to do a side. So normally we'd go like this, but we don't have so much room. So what we want to do is bring your hand to your shoulder. So let's use your left shoulder. Bring your hand to your left shoulder. And sitting where you are in the chair, we're going to take an inhale breath. Let's start with an inhale. And then slowly leaning over to your right. Okay, let's hold this side stretch. So we're stretching the whole left side of the body. Breathe. Breathing in and out through the nose. And then inhale, come on up. Lower that arm down. Let's take the right hand and bring it to the right shoulder. Take an inhale. And exhale, leaning over to the left side now. Just feel that stretch along the right side of your body. And use your breathing. As you're breathing, you might feel a slight expansion on the right side of your rib cage on the inhale, and a slight contraction on the exhale. And then inhale, we're going to come on up, and then just lower that arm down. Give that a good shake. Now, I'm going to have you, we don't have that room to raise the arms, and I'll do this, so we're going to just twist. We're going to do a gentle twist. So what I'd like you to do is sit up nice and tall to start the twist. We're going to take an inhale breath. And as you exhale, I want you to twist over to your right, taking your left hand and bringing it to your right knee. Okay, so rest it on your right knee. And your right arm is going to reach around to the back of the chair. Let's see if I can. Sorry. So you would be like this. So we're just twisting. And don't over twist. Only do what works for you. Okay? And breathe. Continue to breathe as you're doing this gentle twist. It's a gentle twist. And then we're going to inhale and slowly come back to the center, releasing the arms. And then as you exhale, let's twist to the other side. Let your right hand come to the left knee. The left arm is going to reach around your chair. Spine's up nice and tall. And as you're twisting, so the other way, you got it. No, the hand comes to the knee. That's all right. This hand comes to the opposite knee. And then that arm reaches around. Yep. So only the point. We don't want anybody to bother, to hear. So that hand comes to here. And that arm is what's reaching behind the chair. Like that. And so you're sitting up nice and tall and you're gently twisting, looking over that left shoulder. And then you breathe. Once you get into the position, you do a few breaths there. And then on your next inhale, you're going to release the arms and come on back up to the center. Okay? Then we're going to stretch our feet out in front of us. Again, I'm adapting this practice to the chair and the fact that people have lots of different types of clothing on. And what we're going to do is we're going to circle our ankles. So bring your attention to your ankles. Begin to circle the ankles and notice how your ankles feel today. So even just doing these basically we're doing some joint warm-ups, and that can be very effective too, by just focusing your movements on the joints. And then pause and go in the other direction. Start to circle in the opposite direction. Noticing if it feels any different when you go in the opposite direction. And then we're going to pause, and I want you to flex your feet, bring your toes towards you, and then point them away. Flexing and pointing, flexing and pointing, and just one more time, flexing and pointing, and then just shake that out. Now what I'd like you to do is bring your arms out in front of you, Make fists with your hands, and let's start to circle the wrists. Loosen up your wrist joints. Bring your attention. Have that mindfulness at your wrist joints, and notice how your wrists feel. And then pause and go in the other direction. We have a fluid between all of our joints. It's called synovial fluid. And when we do these circular movements at the joints, it helps to increase. You might feel a little clicking, but if you keep doing it, it kind of settles down. And then just give that a shake. Now, those were the basic joint warm-ups. What I'd like you to do now is stand, if that works for you. If you're not feeling so well today and standing doesn't work, we're only going to do a couple of things here, and then we're going to get into more breathing and relaxation and meditation. Okay, so now what we're going to do is an energy exercise, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to pick up one knee and tap that knee. You don't have to pick it up too high. If this doesn't work for you, perhaps for balance reasons, then go ahead and stay in the chair. And you can be doing this same exercise in a chair by picking up one knee and then the other, okay? So we're just going to do that for a little bit. It's going to get your energy flowing. You've been sitting in different lectures and meetings. You got to do enough to at least feel it. Okay, now we're going to pause, and I'm going to add one more layer onto this energy exercise. We're going to take the opposite elbow and bring it to the opposite knee. It's going to look like this. So we're crossing over the center of the body. If this doesn't work for you for balance reasons, you can go like this. Okay, it's tricky. You can go like this and just tap the knee, or you can be doing this seated as well. You can be seated and go like this, same thing, or like this. So please find the variation that works for you. There's no right or wrong. We adapt to what we can do, and we accept what we can do. So please don't do it so much that you're going to fall over, because that is not why we're doing it. It's just enough to get us going a little bit. Get our energy flowing, get our heart rate up a little bit. And this crossover motion makes us use both sides of our body and both sides of our brain. Okay, we can stop that motion. So it's like if you're working or you're at home and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired, I'm so fatigued, and you just need a quick pick-me-up, try that crossover motion, okay? It's like just picks you up real quickly. Go ahead and take a seat. You've been good sports. Have a seat. And we're going to come back to that position that when we started the practice, I'd like you to sit up nice and tall. Your feet and knees about hip distance apart. If you're comfortable, have your palms facing upward. If that's really uncomfortable, just set your hands anywhere in your lap that work best for you. Think about your shoulders coming up, back, and down. We call this mountain pose in yoga. We happen to be doing a seated mountain pose now. But at the same time, get in this pose, but let yourself relax. But not relax like that. Try to relax in this upright position. Now allow your eyes to be closed or downcast. And once again, let your attention go inward and notice how you feel. After we did the movements, the joint warm-ups, and those couple of energy exercises, notice how you feel internally. Notice where your heart rate is. Is it up a little bit? If it is, that's because that was a cardiovascular motion. Notice where your breathing rate is. If the breathing rate is up a little bit, if you feel like you're breathing a little bit faster, that's because of the cardiovascular motion. Now let's go back to the breathing. Just follow along with what I'm saying. As you're inhaling, mentally guide your breath in through your nostrils, down through your windpipe, into the lungs, and think about guiding it all the way down to the lower part of the lungs, and see if you can feel your belly expand on the inhale. And then as you exhale, just gradually draw your navel back and towards the spine and feel the breath, follow the breath, going back out from the lungs, back out through the windpipe, back out through the nostrils. Let's try this one more time with that hand. Let's put one hand on your belly and one hand on your chest. Again, keeping your eyes closed or downcast, just for a little bit, just for some breaths, okay? So as we inhale, we're mentally guiding the breath in through the nostrils, down through the windpipe, into the lungs, deep into the lungs. Feel your belly expand. The hand that's on the belly, feel it go forward. And then as you exhale, mentally guide the breath back out as you gradually draw your navel back and towards your spine. Now keep doing that on your own, but think to yourself, long, slow, steady, deep breathing. Breathing in and out through your nose. Belly expands on the inhale and draws back and towards the spine on the exhale. Try to avoid movement in the upper chest. So if you're feeling your hand on the chest move, just try to make the hand on the belly be the one that moves, by concentrating on the path of the breath. Inhaling long, slow, steady breaths deep down into the lungs. And as you exhale, draw the navel back and towards the spine. Let's try this to a count because it helps you to get a rhythm, okay? I'm going to count to 2 on the inhale and 4 on the exhale. So everybody relax your abdominal muscles and try to do this together with me. Inhale for a count of 2. Feel your belly expand. 1, 2. Now slow your exhale down for 4. 1. As you draw your navel back into the spine. 2, 3, 4. Inhale for 2. The belly expands. 1, 2. Exhale for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale for 2. Belly expands. 1, 2. Exhale for 4. Draw the navel in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale for 2. 1, 2. Exhale for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale for 2. 1, 2. Exhale for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now try doing it on your own. Try counting to yourself. You can relax your hands down if you want, but I want you to try doing this long, slow, deep breathing on your own. Noticing your belly expand on the inhale and drawing the navel back and towards the spine on the exhale. Breathing in and out through the nose. Now, if your hands are on your chest or your belly, let's all relax the hands back to the thighs, back to the knees. Keep your eyes closed or downcast. And allow your attention to gradually drift down to your feet. Let it go all the way down to your feet. And notice any sensations you may be feeling in the area of your feet. Maybe it's the sole of your feet against the floor, or the sole of your feet pressing against the shoe. Maybe there's a tingling. Maybe there's a pulsing sensation. Maybe there's a temperature sensation. But notice what's happening in your feet, any sensations. And now shift your attention to your ankles. Notice any sensations you may be feeling in the area of your ankles. Again, maybe it's a tingling or a pulsing or a temperature sensation. Maybe it's no sensation or a numbness. And now the lower part of your legs. Bring your attention to the calf muscles, the shins and the calves. Notice any sensations you may be feeling in the area of the lower part of your legs. Now allow your attention to shift to your knees, noticing any sensations you may be feeling in the area of your knees. Now your thighs. Notice any sensations you may be feeling in the area of your thighs. Now the buttocks. Maybe it's the pressure of the buttocks against the seat of the chair. And shifting your attention to your lower back. Notice any sensations you may be feeling in your lower back. Now your belly. Any sensations in the area of your belly? And how about your rib cage? The front of the rib cage and the back of the rib cage. Notice any sensations in the area of your rib cage. Now your shoulder blades, the right shoulder blade, the left shoulder blade, between the shoulder blades. Notice any sensations in the area of your shoulder blades. And now the front side of the upper chest, the right side, the left side, the center of your chest. Notice any sensations you may be feeling in the area of the upper chest. Allowing your attention to drift to your hands. Notice any sensations you may be feeling in the area of your hands. Your wrists. Any sensations in the area of your wrists. Forearms. Any sensations in the area of your elbows. Upper arms. Now your shoulders. Notice any sensations you may be feeling in the area of your shoulders. Your neck. Any sensations you may be feeling in the area of your neck. And now your head. The back of your head, the front of your head, your face, the top of your head, center of your head. Any sensations you may be feeling in the area of your head. Now take a long, slow inhale breath, and as you exhale, guide that exhale breath all the way down to the tips of your toes. And invite the tips of your toes to relax. All 10 toes. One right after the other. Relax the soles of your feet, the tops of your feet, and your ankles. Soften your calves, the front and back of your calves. Relax your knees, thighs, buttocks, hips, abdomen, lower back, middle back, upper back, belly, chest. Notice your heart opening and softening. Relaxing your hands, wrists, forearms, elbows, upper arms, shoulders, neck. Softening your face, your chin and your jaw, your mouth. the lips around your mouth, the tongue inside your mouth, the roof of your mouth. Relax your cheeks, your ears, and your nose. Soften your eyes, your eyelids, your eyelashes, your eyebrows. Erasing any remaining worries and concerns from your forehead. Soften your scalp. And now, the crown of your head. Feel your entire body relaxed, from the crown of your head all the way down to the tips of your toes, and from the tips of your toes all the way back to the crown of your head. Feel yourself completely relaxed. Now draw your attention to your forehead, to that spot on your forehead between your eyebrows. It's your mind's eye. Think of it as your imagination. Now use your imagination to picture a spot on your upper lip, so below the tip of the nose and above the lip itself, on the upper lip. Just imagine a spot. And try to keep your attention focused on that single spot. Now tune in to the path of your breathing. This is just gentle breathing. It's not the deep breathing. Feel the flow of your breath, the gentle caress of the inhale and gentle caress of the exhale. Try to keep your attention focused on the breathing. If you need a tool, you can say to yourself, inhaling and exhaling. If your mind starts to wander, just notice that it's wandered and gently guide it back. Guide it back to that single spot. Back to following the path of the breath. You can think of it like a cloud in the sky. You might notice the cloud, but you don't want to attach to it. Just let the cloud float on by. If a thought arises, don't attach to it. Avoid analyzing it. Just say thought and let it go away. Come back to the single spot. The feeling of the breath. Another tool you can use is to say to yourself the word so, hum. So, hum. If the mind wanders, guide it back. Back to the breath. When we're in this state of mind, we give off powerful vibrations of peace, calm, and stillness, affecting not only ourselves, but those around us. Meditation is a very powerful tool. We're going to slowly allow our meditation to come to a close, but keep the eyes closed for a moment. I'd like you to take your palms once again and rub them together with the eyes closed. Rub your hands together. Feel the warmth once again. And then when you're ready, when you can feel the warmth, take your hands and place them, cup them over your eyes. You might feel that energy, that sense of stillness, that sense of oneness, that tapping into our inner self, our true self. And then you can take your hands and give a little bit more of a massage around the face. Bringing your hands back to your thighs when you're ready. Everything's done gently and mindfully. And when you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes and smile. And notice how you feel now. Take a moment before I ask if there's any questions. Notice how you feel now versus when we started and I asked you to notice how you were feeling. How many people feel a difference, a positive difference? I even do. Just from teaching it, I do. So that gives you just a little, this is just a glimpse of what yoga can do for you. There are all sorts of different breathing techniques. All I did was introduce you to deep, long, slow, deep breathing. And I could name about 5 or 6 yoga breathing practices that if you came to a yoga class that was labeled breathing and meditation, that would be a good one, or the gentle yoga. And if the teacher's not teaching separate breathing practices as part of the practice, ask them. Say, hey, can we do some breathing techniques? You might want to look up, if you're interested for doing yoga for your health, on the website of the International Association of Yoga Therapists, you can go that, it's iayt.org. You can go to that and search, I want to see if there's a yoga therapist in my area. You can put in a zip code or a location. So you could try that avenue as well. Or you can get sessions from a yoga teacher as well, and just look for one that has a good amount of experience. So iayt.org. So iayt.org is the International Association of Yoga Therapists. And you can go to find a yoga therapist on there. I actually spent 13 years living in Orlando, so I'm very familiar with it. But right now I don't live in Orlando. I do some work with the UF Health Cancer Center downtown, but that's a research study, so I'm coming over here once a week. But I live in the Sarasota area, so if anybody happens to live in the Sarasota area, you could catch me there. But I'm not the only one. There's lots of great yoga teachers and lots of great yoga therapists out there, so find one that's convenient for you if that's something that you're interested. So I'm going to open it up now to questions. I did want to, this might spark some questions if I went backwards, to touch on what we started with, and you did do some movement, you did do some breathing, you did some concentration and relaxation. I was trying, when we went through what we call a body scan and noticing the sensations, we did some meditation. How many people feel like they got a little glimpse of meditation, tapping into their inner joy? Awesome. And one thing I forgot to do, I'm going to do one thing and then I'm going to ask for questions, is the way we end a yoga class, okay? So bring your hands to your heart center, and we say the word namaste. So I'm going to say, let's say it together, namaste. And what namaste is it's a sign of respect from the students to the teacher, but it's also respect from the teacher back to the students. We learn so much from everybody every single time we teach a class. So I'm open now to any questions that you might have. Yes?
So you use the Sanskrit ho-hum.
Okay.
What does that mean?
She asked me what that meant when we were doing the meditation, the so-hum. She said ho-hum, but you can use ho-hum if you want, whatever's going to help you to focus. So-hum is a Sanskrit word, and it means I am. So it's just, again, it's a way of tapping into that inner self. But excellent question. What other questions we got in the back?
Nancy, I just want to say thank you. I have more of a bulletin board for you.
Okay.
Because I am a 35-year survivor And I just practiced this 2 years ago,
Yes.
and I'm from Denver, Colorado.
Oh, awesome.
So I strongly, strongly suggest everybody in this room, if you've never taken yoga and find your true self, it is an amazing experience. It's totally changed me. I practice body and brain yoga
Yes.
and in Denver, and my vision that I had when I found my true self, and you'll find out more about this as you go through the practice, is you have a vision of what you want in life when you find your true self. It's not from the outside, it's right from your soul. And once you dance with your soul and swing with your soul in real life, you have a vision of what you want. My vision that I have is to teach this to bone marrow transplant survivors, caregivers in the state of Colorado. So
awesome.
we have a group of people now where brain education
I'm
is
sorry
now
if I'm in
being
people's way.
introduced into the schools in Colorado, and it's just an amazing experience. And I strongly suggest that all of you go through it because
I know. So,
Okay. It's a great experience for everybody, and when you can take, and not that you don't have the stress and all the mindset that goes with everything with transplant, caregivers, worries, your family members, when you can take that and process it and put yourself in a lighter frame of mind, it is amazing how you just deal with stress. And stress, we always say, causes disease, which we don't want. So I strongly suggest that everybody, at least you owe it to yourself to give it a chance. It's great. It's a great practice, and I say thank you again.
thank you so much. I wish you could come to my second session.
Yeah, I can.
And at the end, just for the last few minutes, and say what you just said. Because it means so much more coming from you than from me, right? From somebody who's...
I have to ask you another question.
Sure.
And it's a program that everybody has cell phones. So if you go on your cell phone and it's a 1-minute app, okay, and it's in your app store, it'll show you for 1 minute every hour, whether you're at work, sitting, wherever you're at, for 1 minute you exercise. So you do a total of 8. It's 8 minutes out of your whole day, okay, that you actually did some exercise. And when I retired from United, no bending, twisting, because I hurt my back working there 22 years. But through this practice, oh my goodness. Oh, wow.
Right.
It is just amazing at the things that you learn that you can do if you just allow your mind to do it.
And slowly adapt to
And
it, right?
slowly,
Just
and
accept
slowly.
where you are and slowly get
Right.
to this.
Always listen to your body. So,
Yeah.
and I've always come up with the thing that I say to myself, and we close ours with Asamida, which means thank you. And I always tell myself, I love myself. My body is not me,
Right.
it's mine. My brain is not me, it's mine. In other words, I control my brain
Right.
and my body, and it's amazing.
And one of
Absolutely
the,
amazing.
along the lines of what we can control is our breathing, right?
The
We
meridians.
can, there's these breathing practices that we can alter.
The chakras,
Yeah.
all that.
So, and it's so interesting, there's so much to learn. And so, but thank you for that. I really
sure.
appreciate it. Is there any other questions, comments? Yep, we got over here, yes. Can you, we have the microphone? Sorry, here.
Yes.
Oh, and then we'll let you give that before we finish.
I was just wondering about, because he mentioned, sorry,
Yeah.
he mentioned apps.
Yes.
I've heard of like Calm,
Mm-hmm.
I think is one. I forgot what some. Are those, do you find really helpful, or are they just sort of?
Yes, so the question was about apps, and we're going to let you, what's the name of your app?
It's 1 minute change, 1 minute change, and I don't know if I should do this, but it's changeyourenergy.com. Changeyourenergy.com.
That's okay, I have no problem with that, because you're going to look at it and you're going to like it or not, right?
So it's just, it gives you different exercises that you can do. So
Right.
it's amazing stuff. So you can program it to do whatever you want it to do. So I'll be around.
Okay.
I'm one of the volunteers too. So.
Awesome. There's another app called Calm that was brought up. I'm familiar of it, but I don't use it, but I can't say either way, but I think it's probably a good app. There's one app that I know is good because I use it myself, and it's called Insight Timer. Insight Timer, it's something I have downloaded on my phone, and it's free. And you can pay for another level and get, but you can get part of it free. And there is times, even though I'm a yoga teacher and yoga therapist, that I need some help getting to sleep, and I wanted somebody to help me drift off, right, by listening to something. And I use the Insight Timer. Which one? Headspace, yep. These are all good apps for you to check out yourself and see which one you can relate to.
What's that last one?
Headspace.
Headspace.
Headspace. Headspace, Calm, Insight Timer, and the one that we got there. And there's little cards that you got there. My practice is called BreathlinkYogaTherapy.com, and you'll find information on mine.
Did everyone get one of those cards? Did everyone get one?
I think it's on, well, I don't know if they're getting the slides or not, but it's BreathlinkYogaTherapy.com. And I have some practices on there. But also in your handouts, the movements that we did, they're on there, and some ideas about meditation. The meditation that we did is on there, so you can go home and have a reference back to what we did. But thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, we're concluding our sessions for this morning. Let's say thank you to Sinton, and thank you.
Thank you for coming. I hope you continue to practice yoga.